What's good, people? Today, we're going to talk about another classic. I think it came out in 1978, and we're going to talk about a movie called Blue Collar. Now, I'm going to say this. I think that was Richard Pryor's best movie. It wasn't a comedy movie. I would say the movie genre probably would be drama. Excellent movie. You had Richard Pryor, you had Yaphet Kotto, and Harvey Keitel. Basically, the movie was about they worked in the auto industry. They worked in Detroit, in the assembly line. I think it was either Ford or Dodge or whatever. It could have been both of them. And they were having problems with the union. And it started off like that. Richard Pryor, he would be the one out of all three of them because they were best friends. They were good. They was friends on the job. Harvey Keitel, Yaphet Kotto, and Richard Pryor, and they was friends outside of work too. So all of them, they all three stuck together, right? They was cool. So Richard Pryor be the one in the meetings going off on the union stewardess, just going off. He ain't had no respect for him. He was the loudest voice. Now they all knew that the union was crooked, and they was hearing it from outside of work too. So the reputation about the union was corrupt and it was crooked. What are the unions doing for you? You see what I'm saying? In this movie, it wasn't based on a true story, so to speak, but it kind of think it was in a sense. It kind of make you think that because it's like, people who work in factories and stuff like that, they can relate, And this was in the 70s too, so, there was a lot of corruption back then. So anyway, the plan was, we got to do something about this, about our union, and Harvey Keitel, he had a family, married, had two kids. They were young, little kids. They wasn't as teenagers, but they were young. Same thing with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor had like 3 kids. So it's the typical struggling, yeah, I got a decent job, but I'm still in the hole. Inflation was up. When they tried to get Richard Pryor in the movie, because back then IRS agents would come to your house, about your taxes. And Richard Pryor had like a second job at a time, and the tax man came to the house talking about Richard Pryor owed like $2,400. Richard Pryor already stressed out, dealing with the kids, just trying to be a head above water, so you had that aspect. And that made him like, man, we're going to have to do something about this. And then you had Yaphet Kotto character, which I don't think he had any kids. He was just out there doing his thing, And but he was a 2-time fella. So his reputation was he was one of them dudes because he was from the streets. He was hip to everything that was going on with the union too. But he was more calculated as far as how he wanted to do things. Where Richard Pryor was like, F that, man. You know what I'm saying? Richard Pryor was a high-head in that movie. Very, very opinionated. He was very loud. Yaphet Kotto felt the same way, but he was just more calculated with it. And out of the group, I would say Richard Pryor was the loudest. Yaphet Kotto character was more of the laid back. He was hip to the game because he would call bullshit out, but he was more calculated. And I would consider him the muscle of the group. He would be the muscle. Harvey Keitel was just the average family man. He ain't want no trouble. That's it. So they got involved in a scheme. They was like, you know what? I think the union people was hiding a lot of things from us. So their plan was they're going to go and steal the union money. That was in the safe, in the union headquarters. And besides, there were like, it's only one guardman there, and he real weak. He was an old dude. They're like, we can overtake him. So they got these goofy disguises and stuff they got. It wasn't even a mask. It was like some fake eye, whatever. It was real goofy. So they plan was, we're gonna go and rob the safe, and see how much money is in there. They was thinking that, it probably was about between $5,000 and $10,000 in there. So they was like, oh boy, man, I can't wait. We can't wait to get the hold of that. So when they finally got it, they knocked out the security guard. They ain't kill him, but they knocked him out. He was asleep for a minute. And they opened up the safe. Come to find out, it was only like, I think, $500 in there. That's it. It was like, what? This is all we got is $500? It was like, man, it's some bull, But it was some paper in there. It was a notebook that had all kind of information. Come to find out, the information in that notebook was linked to Vegas. Like it would tell them like, well, there's money going to this, and it was like mafia type stuff. That's heavy. Actually, that was far more valuable than that $500 or any money, because you're looking at some serious stuff. There was a whole bunch of stuff talking about interest rate, what they would use to my man. It was crazy. So they were initially disappointed, but they was like, but we got this notebook. That's more valuable than anything. So they was like, we can use this for leverage. So the word got back, to the plant that they knew who did it. They knew Richard Pryor. There was two black guys and a white dude, and they knew it was them and stuff like that. And even one of the he was like I don't know, was he like the plant manager? I don't know, what would you call him? But he knew what was going on. And remember, this is mafia type stuff. And it was this organized crime. So, what's his face ended up losing his life. They made it seem like an accident. Smokey, that was Yaphet Kotto character. And after that, you saw things, go really out of hand between Richard Pryor and not Yaphet Kotto, but Harvey Keitel, to where it was all about self after that. Very, very good movie. I'm not going to say anything else about the movie, because the movie is a gem. Now, I talked about Across 110th Street on one video, but let me tell you something. Blue Collar also could be that movie. Is that the best movie I've ever seen? It's definitely on the short list. It's definitely Richard Pryor best movie for sure. No doubt about it. Excellent, excellent, excellent movie. And for those who haven't seen it, watch that movie, because Richard Pryor did a great job acting. Yeah, it got a few funny things in it, but it's a serious movie. It's not a comedy. It's not a comedy. But to me, that's like one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Blue Collar. Definitely a thumbs up. Tune in. I'm out. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.